We hope it won't happen, and humanity has learned its lesson. That we're too interconnected to destroy the world for each other. History doesn't care about hope. It advances when diplomacy fails and propaganda succeeds. Where a tense finger lingers on the trigger a moment longer. If World War III happens, it won't resemble 1939. It will be quicker, more chaotic, and deadlier. No one wants it, but everyone is preparing for it. And when it comes, it will start exactly like this. I'm Facto's Root. I share mind-blowing facts, mysteries, and interesting content. World War III. Words that, just a few years ago, sounded like a relic of the past, like something that belongs in history textbooks. Not in current Army defense plans or budgets, but now it's being discussed again in general staffs and think tanks, and behind the scenes of politics. Why? The world's two most powerful countries are nearing a breaking point. One wants to keep things as they are, the other wants change. And between them lies a crisis hotspot that could plunge the whole world into chaos. This is military reality, not science fiction, calculations, exercises, simulations. This is a realistic scenario of how the largest war in history could start. It begins subtly, with quiet ship movements, a stronger signal, and a strange internet outage. If you don't pay close attention, you may miss it. But those who follow geopolitics know this might be the calm before the storm. Prepare for a real situation you won't find in the news. In this video, we'll break down step by step how World War III could break out. From the first shots to a global catastrophe. We'll show the red lines that must not be crossed, alliances that could fall, and decisions that could change the world. Who will strike first? Who will respond? And can it be stopped? Background of the conflict: China, Taiwan, and the United States defense promise. To see why this point could trigger a global conflict, we must look back in time. In 1949, after a bloody civil war in China, Mao Zedong's communists won. The defeated government fled to Taiwan, declaring the Republic of China there. Since then, two Chinas exist, the communist mainland and the democratic island. Beijing still views Taiwan as a temporarily separated province that must be reunited with the motherland, and by any means necessary. Taiwan views this differently, having built a strong economy, democracy, and resilient defense. More and more citizens want nothing to do with Beijing's dictatorship. This is where the United States comes in. Since 1979, they haven't recognized Taiwan as a sovereign state, but they signed the Taiwan Relations Act, which obligates the United States to defend the island if it is attacked. However, America maintained strategic ambiguity by not officially stating if it would intervene. Recently, American presidents have discussed it more openly as the rhetoric has shifted. Joe Biden has repeatedly stated that the United States would defend Taiwan, and that's a red flag for China. Donald Trump takes a tough stance on China. While he may prefer an agreement, he would not remain passive if attacked. Beijing monitors every American official's visit to Taiwan, each Pacific military drill, and all new weapon packages for Taiwan's army. And at the same time, it is building an army ready to unify by force. That's the situation. Two major powers, one island, and an old conflict entering a new risky phase. The red line. How might China launch an invasion? There are several possible scenarios for how this nightmare could start, and they all revolve around one key point: crossing the so-called red line. Not one recognized by international law, but one set by China itself. That line is the independence of Taiwan. In the eyes of Beijing, it would be an open rebellion, and they would decide to suppress it, even if it meant war. The invasion would not be swift. Chinese strategists would begin with large-scale cyber attacks to cripple Taiwan's infrastructure, power, transportation, and communication. Meanwhile, a disinformation campaign would spread false reports of surrender, heavy casualties, and government collapse. Next, ballistic missiles would deliver precise strikes on Taiwan's airports, radars, and air defenses. The island would be left in darkness, cut off and bombarded. At the same time, Chinese forces would begin to gather on the coast of Fujian province, directly across from Taiwan. The video resumes shortly. Please subscribe, like, and share. Facto's route will continue in a few seconds. But Taiwan is not defenseless. For years, they've built a hedgehog strategy, a defense designed to make any attack extremely costly and painful. The island is full of underground bunkers, secret weapon depots, and mobile missile launchers. Taiwan has F-16 jets, Harpoon missiles, and the Patriot defense system. Their military doctrine assumes they will survive the first wave of attack and then begin to resist. They use terrain, mountains, jungle, and cities in every valley and port. Taiwan would turn into an unpredictable maze where every area would be paid for in blood. That could be why the invasion hasn't happened yet. China knows it wouldn't be easy. It would be a fight that could change the whole world. The first hours, cyber attacks, rocket salvos, and propaganda. If China pulled the trigger, the first hours would be shocking. Everything would happen at once, without warning. Taiwan's computers would fail and electronic boards would show fake evacuation messages. ATMs would stop working. Transportation networks would collapse. Cyber soldiers would spread chaos even before the first shot was fired. At the same time, Chinese missile forces would launch hundreds of ballistic and cruise missiles, targeting military bases, command centers, airports, and communication hubs. The goal would not be to conquer Taiwan immediately, but to paralyze it, to cripple it like prey that can be controlled quickly and with minimal resistance. Next would come a media war. Chinese state television would launch a campaign about the reunification of the nation. Fake videos show Taiwanese soldiers supposedly surrendering, with claims the government has fallen and the United States betrayed them. The goal is not just to sway Taiwan's public, but also to create doubt among allies and weaken their resolve. Taiwanese leaders would have to act quickly, activate defense protocols, hide the command, issue instructions through emergency radios, and hope that their allies won't just stick to words. United States and Allied involvement, retaliatory strikes, and escalation. Initial reports of an attack on Taiwan would shock the world. The lights in the White House would come on even before sunrise. The National Security Council would meet in an underground bunker. On the table would be options such as diplomacy, warnings, economic sanctions, or military intervention. In this case, it's about actions, not threats. And the Americans have an informal but strong commitment to Taiwan, the Taiwan Relations Act. It doesn't directly mention defense, but it instructs the United States to help Taiwan defend itself. And if China tries to change the status quo by force, that's a red line. In a few hours, American ships in the Pacific would change course, and aircraft carriers would head for the Taiwan Strait. The Air Force would stay alert. Japan, which has American bases on its territory, would become an essential logistical hub, but also a potential target. Australia, South Korea, the Philippines, and other regional allies would face a dilemma: join the United States and risk retaliation, or stand by as Asia transforms. Retaliation could follow, with the United States possibly attacking Chinese military ships blockading Taiwan, target radar, communication systems, cyber centers, and destroy Chinese mainland firing positions. But each step carries great risk, because China would retaliate and it would escalate beyond just Taiwan. It's a regional earthquake. How will Japan, South Korea, and Australia react? As the world waits, the Pacific is tense. If Taiwan ignites, the region shakes. Japan is the first in line. It hosts over 50,000 American soldiers and has one of the world's most advanced fleets. It is already concerned about China's expansion. If Taiwan falls, Japan could be next. That's why Japan will act fast. Missile defense shields are being activated, fighter jets deployed, and warships leaving ports. And the public, although pacifist, feels that this is about their own survival. South Korea's situation is more complicated. Its priority is North Korea, but if the United States and China were to go to war, the northern neighbor couldn't be ignored either. Pyongyang could use the attack for its own strike or leverage. South Korea hesitates. Should it defend its home from Kim or risk joining a war that might cross its borders? Australia may be geographically distant, but it is deeply involved strategically. It has the Australia-United Kingdom-United States Defense Pact with the United States and its Indian Ocean bases, and surveillance networks are invaluable to the United States. Canberra would almost certainly side with America, making it a target for Chinese propaganda and cyber attacks, possibly even attacks on bases. We haven't even mentioned the Philippines, Vietnam, or Indonesia yet. Countries usually neutral may now get pulled into a major power struggle. Suddenly, no harbor is safe, no sea, no non-involvement. This conflict wouldn't remain regional. No, that would be too simple. It's growing into something bigger. Maybe even into a question of survival for the entire order the world has known since World War I. Hi. Who would have the advantage? Technology, logistics, and weapons would matter more than troop numbers in a major power war. It would be about brains, sensors, and supply chains stretching thousands of kilometers. The United States has one huge advantage: experience. Their army has fought worldwide, has bases in many countries, and satellites orbiting the planet. They're still technologically ahead. B-21 stealth bombers, hypersonic weapons in development, naval drones, electromagnetic catapults on aircraft carriers. But there's a problem: distance. The Pacific is huge and Taiwan is far away. Getting supplies there, fuel, repairing damaged ships, all of that is a logistical nightmare, and every ship could be a target for a Chinese missile. China, on the other hand, is playing at home. Everything it needs is within a few hours' reach. Its weapons might not be the best, but they're nearby and plentiful. Certain equipment such as DF, 21D anti-ship, ballistic missiles, and DF, ZF hypersonic weapons pose a serious threat even to American aircraft carriers. Cybernetics and artificial intelligence are also crucial, and China has invested billions in them. It is creating Beidou satellite networks, developing autonomous command systems, and testing machine learning in simulated battles. Disabling the American global positioning system could cripple ally coordination. Taiwan may lack strength, but it benefits from a hedgehog advantage. A defense system designed to inflict maximum pain on the attacker. Harpoon missiles, mobile Patriot batteries, laser targeting, and a dense radar network hidden in the mountains. And what's the most important thing? Great civilian resilience and strong motivation to defend every meter. In this war, victory won't go to the first attacker, but to the one who lasts longer. That's the key issue. Is the world ready for something so long, exhausting, and destructive? World War III? Scenarios where the conflict spreads globally. A conflict over Taiwan could start as a regional storm, but if it develops badly, it could turn into a hurricane of global proportions. Scenario number 1, escalation of the conflict. The United States and its allies launch extensive counterattacks on Chinese positions in the Pacific. Supply ships, radar, ammo depots. China responds with missile strikes on American bases in Japan, Guam, and possibly even Hawaii. Allies also join the war: South Korea, Australia, the Philippines, and the world watches with bated breath, waiting to see if nuclear weapons will be used. Scenario 2, more conflicts. As attention focuses on the Pacific, other powers exploit the chaos. Russia could advance in Europe. Suwałki Corridor, Moldova, or more escalation in Ukraine. Iran might increase its influence in the Persian Gulf, even reaching the Strait of Hormuz. India could respond to Chinese movements in the Himalayas. Scenario number 3, cyber apocalypse. The internet is falling apart, banking systems are collapsing, disinformation is spreading panic. Satellites fail from attacks or explosions, turning the modern world into a technological jungle. Scenario number 4, nuclear shadow. While leaders claim that nuclear weapons are unusable, everyone has them ready. The United States of America and China both have nuclear triads, enabling strikes from sea, air, and land. Each tension or escalation pushes the world closer to the unimaginable, to the point where a single mistake could trigger a chain reaction. The video continues right away. I just want to quickly ask you to subscribe, like, and share. We'll continue in a few seconds. Facto's route isn't finished yet. And what about Taiwan? If it fell, it could mean a new order, a signal that a superpower can take whatever it wants, that agreements and alliances are just paper. If it defended itself or China failed, it would damage China's strategy, hurt its prestige, and cause domestic instability. We're not discussing a local conflict anymore, but World War III, a war that would change us all, not just those who are fighting. Economic collapse would deeply affect regular people. A Pacific war could cripple not just battlefields, but the whole world. Economically, logistically, socially, and crucially, it would impact even those who've never seen a soldier. The first strike, supply chains, Taiwan, Japan, South Korea, these countries are crucial for chip and semiconductor production. If fighting spreads, factories may close. Containers stop arriving, making everything, phones, computers, cars, even washing machines, more expensive. Even everyday items, from components to food, start disappearing from stores. The second blow, energy prices. War always means uncertainty and the markets react. The price of oil and gas could skyrocket. Flying will be a luxury and heating will cost a lot. Some countries, especially in Europe, must consider how to stay warm during winter. The third blow, inflation and panic. During wartime, countries spend huge amounts on defense. Ordinary people are struggling with inflation, shrinking savings, and future fears. Strikes and protests are increasing, along with a wave of discontent and a crisis of trust in institutions. Fourth blow, financial markets. If war becomes global, stock exchanges will collapse. Investors are fleeing to gold, cryptocurrencies, and safe havens. The dollar and the yuan are struggling for dominance. But regular people suffer most, employees, pensioners, and young people starting out. And over all of this hangs a spirit of uncertainty. Will travel be possible? Or will the world change or collapse after this war, like it did after the First or Second World War? A war between the United States and China wouldn't be just about missiles and airplanes. It would be a war that every one of us would feel in our wallets, in our homes, and in our minds. Is war inevitable, and what could have stopped it? Everything suggests that the world is heading for a collision. China is getting stronger. America wants to keep its dominance. Taiwan is a geopolitical flashpoint, and yet it still might not be too late. History shows that major wars often started not because they were wanted, but because no one stopped them in time. Failed diplomacy, misread intentions, pride, small choices, then an explosion. And now there are paths that lead elsewhere. Diplomacy. The United States and China are still holding talks, not always successful, but important. Military communication channels help prevent errors. Safety measures and economic ties also play a role. The United States and China are competitors and partners, needing each other for millions of jobs and trillions of dollars. A war would impact both sides perhaps more than they realize. Global pressure. The rest of the world has no interest in another world war. Europe, India, the countries of Southeast Asia, they could all act as mediators, tension reducers, and intermediaries. Deterrence. Taiwan is preparing, the United States is sending signals, and China has to ask itself whether a possible war would bring victory or the beginning of the end of its own dream of global status. But the key question remains. Are both leaders still rational, or has fear, assumptions, and revenge already taken over? Nothing is certain, and maybe that's exactly why we have to take this topic seriously. Because if history repeats itself, and this time the first shot is fired east of Taiwan, none of us will live in the world as we know it today. If this video made you think, don't forget to like it and share it. We're interested in your opinion. Will a United States-China clash actually happen, or is it just a test of nerves? Share your thoughts in the comments. Thanks for watching. See you next episode of Factoj Root. Factoj Root signing off, but mysteries never rest. See you soon, and subscribe so you don't miss out.